California has no shortage of key races on Super Tuesday, and the race for who will represent California in the U.S. Senate is drawing a lot of attention. According to recent polls, Congressman Adam Schiff has been in the top spot, but ex-Dodger Steve Garvey has risen to second place, meaning Congresswoman Katie Porter may not make the November ballot. So what can we expect come Tuesday in this race and other high-profile contests? Let's bring in now Paul Mitchell from Political Data. Thanks so much for being with us. So, Paul, the data you're seeing on this race to replace the late Senator Dianne Feinstein. Can you project an outcome on this?
Well, let's just look at the numbers. There's been a couple polls recently showing this race being a race really between Adam Schiff, Steve Garvey as the leading Republican, Katie Porter also in the mix, and then Barbara Lee, one of the three Democrats that most people were talking about at the beginning, kind of flailing a little bit, not able to get into those even double digits. When we look at what might happen on election night, the real data to look at is who's voting. The fact is that California, as an example, is equal numbers of 18 to 34-year-olds and seniors, so equal numbers of young people and old people. Young people in this race actually favor Barbara Lee, Katie Porter more, and older voters favor Adam Schiff and Steve Garvey more. And the fact is that about 60% of the votes that are coming in right now are coming from seniors. So even though they're 25% of the electorate, they're the overwhelming number of people who are returning their ballots. And that is what's shaping this race. Also, Republicans are turning out in higher numbers. They're 24% of voters. They're 32% of people who've returned a ballot. So if Steve Garvey, who's getting about 75% of the Republican vote, just counts on those Republican voters and their higher turnout, it really does seem likely that will launch him into the runoff and potentially into the first spot.
Interesting. It will be interesting to see who shows up to the polls tomorrow. So let's talk about another race that many people are watching, the congressional seat in the 27th district. Let's cover Santa Clarita. The incumbent Republican Mike Garcia is facing a new challenger this time around. George Whiteside is well funded, and this is a purple district. So what do you think about this race, Paul?
Yeah, so this is an interesting race as well. Again, turnout's lower here than it is statewide. Statewide, about 12% of people had returned a ballot by Friday. In LA County, it's only 8%. This district's about 9% of people have returned a ballot. Again, older Republicans are a little bit overperforming. There is a third candidate that's also a Democrat, so that might pull from George Whiteside's in this primary result. But really, what this race is about is the general election. I think everybody expects these two candidates will go forward in the general and the top two system. And as a result of that, we'll get to see a real match of these voters, of these candidates in an electorate where more voters are actually participating. So in this primary, we might see that Mike Garcia wins with a healthy little lead, but that's in a low turnout environment. When we get to a high turnout election in general, things might get tighter.
Yeah, another high-profile race we've been looking at, LA County District Attorney. We have the incumbent George Gascon. He is facing 11 challengers, most of them not serious contenders. But do the other candidates, any of them have a path to making the runoff?
Well, this is an interesting race in that there are so many competitors. This actually is almost a gift to George Gascon because it basically ensures that he will be one of the top vote getters coming out of this election. The question is, who will he face off against? And he might face off against somebody who, you know, in this election only gets 12, 15% of the vote. It's going to be a very small number that person will actually have to reach in order to get that second spot. And then going into the general election, really, it's going to be a new race. Remember, we have 8 months between this primary election and the general simply because the state moved up their primary to Super Tuesday to try to impact the presidential race. That means in a local race like this, we're going to have a long, runway till we get to November. And there are a handful of candidates that are likely to kind of vie for that second spot. But really, it's going to maybe be weeks before we know who finally gets that, given the fact that the margins between these candidates are going to be so small.
Yeah, there is so much to watch tomorrow. So Paul Mitchell from Political Data, thank you so much for joining us to break down some of those big races.
Thanks for having me.
And guys, don't forget, KCAL News is your source for election coverage through tomorrow's primary. For more, you can go to kcalnews.com/voter guide or scan the QR code that's on your screen.